Exhausted and fearful, 15,000 people have arrived to this stadium in the city of Cucuta in the last 5 days in search of refuge and aid. They're among the 25,000 forced to flee their homes amid fierce clashes between two rival armed groups in the Catatumbo region on the Venezuela border. Cindy del Carmen and her family arrived in Catatumbo 7 years ago, fleeing Venezuela's political and economic crisis. They say that when the clashes started, they tried to protect their home, but when armed men ordered them to leave, they had no choice.
The gunfire, the dead in the streets of the nearest town, it was unbearable. The armed men told us to leave immediately. We were terrified, especially for the kids. One stray bullet and it's over.
The violence, some of the worst in years, began when the National Liberation Army, or ELN, launched a campaign against a dissident faction of former FARC rebels to control lucrative drug routes. The rebels have targeted demobilized fighters, community leaders and civilians they see as opposing their operations. This public school professor, who asked to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation, says the crisis was inevitable.
My students were telling me, "Teacher, take care of yourself. Something horrible is about to happen." And it's so hard to see how these kids have normalized their situation that is not normal. It's abhorrent. FARC and ELN dominate the culture there. They were an agreement of sorts that all came apart. They pretend that they represent some ideology, but the truth is, it's all about drug trafficking, nothing else.
This crisis has already become a major burden for the city of Cucuta. The mayor told us that they were able to serve 6,000 lunches today, but with more people arriving practically every hour, they fear that they will soon run out of resources.
We already need help. We've been overwhelmed for 3 days already. We had planned to receive 2,000 people max, but here we're trying to serve 15,000, 8 times more than what we were expecting.
In response to the worsening humanitarian crisis, President Gustavo Petro, who made it a priority to bring what he calls total peace to the country, suspended ongoing negotiations with the ELN and announced he will declare a state of emergency over the attacks. Meanwhile, 3,000 soldiers have been deployed to Catatumbo to regain control. But many fear escalating violence across the country signals a return to a past Colombians hoped they had left behind. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Cucuta.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.